May 29th, 1453, a dawn that split the pages of history in two. On that day, the world witnessed the impossible. Sultan Mehmed the Conqueror, only 21 years old, stood before the great walls of Constantinople and rewrote destiny itself. After 53 days of relentless siege, cannon fire, and unyielding faith, the mighty city fell. And with it, an entire age faded into the echoes of the past. Every drop of sweat, every silent prayer, and every scar left upon the battlefield built the foundation of this moment. It was not just a conquest of stone and land. It was the conquest of time itself. The Middle Ages ended, and from the ashes of an empire, a new world was born. Behind this monumental event stood a single mind, a young man whose vision pierced beyond his century, whose will refuse to yield to fate. His name, Mehmed, son of Murad. The world would call him Fatih, the Conqueror. But before the crown, before the cannons, there was a boy, shaped by knowledge, burdened by destiny. Let us now turn back the clock to the days before the conquest, to the beginning of his legend. Young Mehmed, childhood and education. March 30th, 1432, Edirne. The Ottoman capital awakens to the birth of a child who would one day shake the very foundations of empires. From his earliest years, Mehmed displayed a brilliance that set him apart. His eyes, sharp and searching, reflected a hunger for understanding, an insatiable curiosity that no ordinary education could satisfy. He was not content with learning only the ways of kings. He devoured books on mathematics, astronomy, philosophy, and warfare. He learned Arabic, Persian, Latin, and Greek, languages that opened the gates to civilizations and ideas long past. He studied Alexander, Caesar, and the Roman emperors, not as distant figures, but as rivals in the race for greatness. Under the guidance of wise scholars such as Aksum Seddon and Molla Guarani, Mehmed's mind was shaped not only by logic, but by faith. He learned that power without wisdom is destruction, and victory without purpose is emptiness. His nights were spent in study, his mornings in discipline, a routine that forged both mind and spirit into steel. Even as a boy, he understood the fragility of empires. He questioned, he calculated, he dreamed. And somewhere deep within that young soul, a single goal took root: to capture Constantinople, the city that had resisted empires for 1,000 years. Ascension to the throne and strategic preparations. In 1451, when Sultan Murad II passed away, the empire turned its eyes to his 19-year-old son. Many doubted him. A youth, they whispered, cannot bear the weight of an empire. But they did not yet know the fire that burned behind Mehmed's calm gaze. His first acts as sultan were not of celebration, but of silence and strategy. He withdrew from courtly comfort and began to observe the borders, the armies, the weaknesses, and strengths. He strengthened the navy, reformed the treasury, and commissioned the construction of the mighty fortress Rumeli Hizari along the Bosphorus, a symbol that shouted to the world, the conquest begins. Each plan, each word, each gesture was calculated. He sought not just to defeat the Byzantines, but to reshape history itself. Diplomacy became his invisible weapon. Treaties were signed, alliances made, and rival powers distracted. He created time and opportunity where none existed. But beyond politics, there was a vision, a dream of uniting East and West under a single banner. A dream that would require not just power, but patience, sacrifice, and faith. Mehmed knew that to change the course of history, one must first master the art of time itself. The Siege of Constantinople and Strategy. April 6th, 1453. The ground trembled beneath the march of an army, 30,000 strong. From the walls of Constantinople, the defenders watched in disbelief as the Ottoman banners filled the horizon. Mehmed, upon his horse, surveyed the ancient city, the queen of cities, calm, unshaken, and certain of victory. The siege began with thunder. Cannons roared like the voice of destiny. The great bombard, a weapon of iron and fire, shattered the silence of centuries. Day by day, the walls crumbled. Night by night, Mehmed's resolve deepened. But the conquest was not won through force alone. One of the boldest maneuvers in military history was born. Ships, carried over land on grease logs, entered the Golden Horn, bypassing the enemy's chains. It was a masterstroke that broke the spirit of the Byzantines. Constantinople's fate was sealed. Yet, within the chaos of war, Mehmed remained composed. He was more than a warrior. He was an architect of destiny. He walked among his soldiers, sharing their bread, hearing their fears, and reminding them that they fought not just for victory, but for a new dawn. And then came the morning of May 29th, the final assault. The cries of Allahu Akbar echoed through the battlefield as the Ottoman flag rose upon the ancient walls. The gates opened, and the dream that had haunted empires for a millennium became reality. The city of Constantine was now the jewel of Islam. The victory and historical legacy. The world changed forever. The conquest of Constantinople was not merely a triumph of arms. It was the rebirth of civilization. The Ottoman Empire became the bridge between continents, faiths, and ideas. Trade flourished, knowledge expanded, and a new era of culture and power began. In the heart of the city, Mehmed entered Hagia Sophia, the church that had witnessed centuries of empires rise and fall. He ordered it to be preserved, its beauty untouched, transforming it into a symbol of unity between past and future. That act alone revealed the mind of a conqueror who sought not destruction, but creation. Europe trembled. Scholars, kings, and popes alike realized that the balance of the world had shifted. The boy sultan had done what no emperor before him could. He had turned prophecy into history. And yet, Mehmed's legacy was more than conquest. He became a patron of science, philosophy, and art. Under his reign, Istanbul flourished as a center of learning, culture, and innovation. He saw the sword and the pen as equal tools of empire, one to defend, the other to enlighten. His name, whispered across centuries, became a symbol of ambition, intellect, and unyielding faith. To this day, the story of Sultan Mehmed the Conqueror reminds us that greatness is not inherited. It is forged through vision, will, and courage. History remembers him not only as a sultan, but as a man who changed the map of the world, a conqueror of walls, of empires, and of the time itself.